Hey, this is Stevie TV here with my top 5 current TV villains. It's my first time doing power rankings. This will be updated a lot. So let's jump right into it. Number 5 has to be the Night's King on Game of Thrones. He is the Darth Maul of snow and ice. That's what he looks like. He was introduced early on in Game of Thrones, turning a baby into a White Walker, which was badass in itself. And then to top him off and get him on this list was when he basically put Jon Snow in his place, which is a hard task. And that iconic scene where he has his hands up across the river there and just like, come at me. That has to put him on this list. He'll go up higher, for sure. I'm thinking later down in Game of Thrones once he becomes a vocal point villain. But there's other villains in the show they got to deal with primarily first. Number 4. This is probably the most terrifying villain, and it's from huge success, Stranger Things, and it's the Demel Gorgon. It's got to be on here because visually it is stunning and horrifying. And the first time you even see it, certain angles you see it in the Upside Down with Eleven and with Will, it's just horrifying and it's scary. It's got a crazy face and it's a monster at the purest form. And you got to have it here because it's important to still have TV villains that are scary and freak you out and give you goosebumps. And that's definitely Demel Gorgon. Now, has the Demel Gorgon been killed? Maybe, but it's still on the list because it's a current show and it's not totally confirmed. He might be back season 2. So I'm throwing him on there. If you don't like it, whatever. Number 3. It's going to be a controversial one because some people probably think he's one or shouldn't be on the list. But you got to have Negan here. Now, Negan, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, is a tricky one because in the comics of Walking Dead, he is, of course, a very comic-y character. And he was a hard one to translate to television because he's got crazy dialogue, a lot of cursing, which they can't really do on AMC. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan was up to the task. I think he killed it. He did amazing with the monologue at the end of Season 6. And he still goes on to Season 7 and does great with the scene where he kills Glenn and Abraham. It's phenomenal acting, and it makes you love Negan the villain. However, it kind of takes a nosedive, and it's not really Jeffrey Dean Morgan's fault. It's the writing, because they're just literally shelling out these scenes with Negan word-for-word dialogue from the comics. So it seems kind of too comic-y and not believable. And I don't blame the actor for that. I blame the translation of the character from the book to the television. So that's why he's not number 1. He's an awesome villain. Lucille is badass. I love his weapon. It's one of my all-time favorite comic villains, and in TV he's great too, but it's the writing that hurt him on this one and brought him down a bit, but you gotta give it credit television-wise when he had everyone lined up and bashed some heads. Woo! Maybe some of the best villain scene we've ever seen. Number 2 has to be Cersei Lannister, and she's shot up because she's someone who's always been a villain that people get annoyed by, but all of a sudden everyone was backing this villain, and like, at the end of Season 6 of Game of Thrones, everyone's like, why am I cheering for Cersei burning up all these religious nuts? And she just becomes incredible. And she's all in black. She's on the throne. She's what her plan was this whole time is coming to fruition. And you gotta respect that. She is a badass female villain. And I mean, she should almost be number 1. I mean, I try not to get mad at her because she did kill my girl Marjorie. That was such a huge loss and that frustrated me. But she owned that episode where she did all this in Season 6 when the piano's playing in the background, she used the fire under King's Landing and kills all those people and doesn't even give a shit. Incredible. And Lena Headey kills it, acting as Cersei from day one, but now she's in her own and now she's a very cool villain to root for. And then finally, number 1 on this list for me. You would think it'd be Cersei because I don't know how you can top it, but you can because Dr. Robert Ford from Westworld, played by Anthony Hopkins, was outstanding. The reason why he's number 1 TV villain is because he was ahead of the audience every step of the way, always one step ahead, and the characters in the show. So you almost feel like you were in it with him and you were seeing how he was fooling other people in the show while he's fooling you, the audience. And everything was just sought out. Every step of his character is planned out and you see it get revealed as the show goes on. You almost like him in the beginning and then you kind of get he's a little shady. Then the Bernard twist and how he shows Bernard's a robot and he has him kill the other woman Incredible. And then he's threatening people. He's acting like God. He's controlling those robots. And I don't think he's dead. And that's why he's on this list. Because that handshake with Bernard, we can't forget, they referred to in the beginning of the season as old robots can never get the handshake down. I believe Dr. Robert Ford is too smart to die in his last final act, and he was a robot there shaking a hand, and that he is alive, the real one, somewhere, and he made himself. That has to be it. There's no way they're getting rid of him. I hope to God they aren't, but he's definitely number one. He's the big baddie to beat at the moment. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he's even alive in Season 2. If he's not, he goes off the list. If he is, let's see who can top him. So I hope you enjoyed my power rankings. Please subscribe. I review shows. I review movies. I have other lists that are coming out, and I interview celebrities. I appreciate all the support, and respond with your comments. Give me your top 5 currently. Fight with me, argue with me about it, or if you agree with me, great. I love any of the support I can get. Please keep coming back, and I will talk to you later.